Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you'll have a good Shabbos. This week, unfortunately, began with very difficult news from Israel as we turned on our phones almost immediately after Shabbos last week. And we hope that this Shabbos will bring good tidings, will bring uh, peace and strength to everyone, to Israel and the entire Jewish people across the world. Today is the 336th day that the hostages remain in Gaza, and we are davening for them, for the soldiers who are fighting for all of Israel, and the learning of this Dvar Torah is dedicated to all of those, and it should be a merit for the Jewish people. At the very end of this week's Parsha Shoftim, the Torah teaches the mitzvah of the Egla Rufa when a unidentified body, seemingly a victim of murder, is found outside of a city on the road, and the elders of the closest city must come, and there is a ritual they perform, and they must declare, Vanu vamru yadeinu lo shafchos adam hazeh ve'einenu lo ra'u. Our hands did not spill this blood, nor did our eyes witness it. Rashi, quoting the Mishnah and Gemara, comments on this declaration, Yadeinu lo shafchos adam hazeh, our hands did not spill this blood. V'chi also alev, would you think that the elders of a certain city would have spilled the blood, would have literally murdered such a person? Ella, rather, what do they mean? What is included in this phrase? We spilled no blood, lo ra'inuhu, upatrinuhu, b'lo mazonos, b'lo levaya. We did not. We are totally guiltless. We are totally innocent. We did not even send him away without food or without an escort beyond the limits of the city. However, if they would have not escorted him out, if they would not have wished him well or given him directions or food, then they would not be blameless. They would not be guiltless. Then they could not say Yadeinu lo shavchos adam hazeh, and in some small way they would have been considered guilty of spilling blood. Of course, this seems to be an extreme comparison to say that if you simply don't help someone, it's as if you have murdered them. And therefore, some explain that what this medrash, this Gemara means to say is that if you didn't help him travel, if you didn't give him directions, if you didn't escort him, then he would have been more vulnerable in some way. Perhaps he got lost because of that. The bandits would have seen that he was alone. Therefore, there was some indirect cause that increased the danger of this person, and therefore the city would be morally liable in some way. However, I think there's another way to understand this teaching, because we find numerous teachings from our sages that equate the lack of helping someone, or to the extreme embarrassing someone or excluding someone, not caring for someone, making them feel alone or actually alone, is tantamount to murder. The Gemara says, "B'Metzia Daf Nunches Amud Beis, Kol Malbim Pnei Chaver Barabim." If someone embarrasses someone else in public, Ki'ilu Shofech Damim, it is as if they have murdered them. And one of the other sages in the Gemara responds, Amar Le, you are correct, and I can prove to you that that equation is correct. Because we see when someone is embarrassed, their face turns red, and then the blood drains and turns white, and there is, so to speak, a draining of the blood. It's as if you are spilling their blood. So Chazal do speak in such terms that when we embarrass someone publicly, which really what that means is when we exclude them, when we say you're not part of the in-group, you're not part of us, you're an outsider, the passerby who goes through the city who people ignore, you are an outsider, you're not part of our community, we don't care about you, the person is left alone, that is in some ways equal to murder. That is what our sages say. Now, on the one hand, our sages sometimes speak in exaggerated terms to be used as a motivator, that a person should think, if I embarrass someone publicly, it's like I'm murdering them, even though obviously it's not literally murdering them, but it's meant to be a moral and religious teaching to make sure that we act accordingly. But on another level, our sages always speak in such terms because they saw that there is some aspect, some measure, there is a spiritual equation, an emotional, psychological, religious equation between embarrassing someone publicly or excluding them, making them feel alone, making them feel as an outsider, that it is similar to murder. A person feels like they've been killed. It hurts so much to feel excluded. You feel like you are worthless. If you feel like you are worthless, you feel like basically you're not alive. Chas v'shalom, you can feel that you shouldn't be alive. The famous story in the Gemara of Choni Hamagol. Without repeating the whole story, he was the one who fell asleep for 7 years, and then he woke up, and it was a new generation. and therefore he couldn't find any of his old friends. He wasn't welcomed into the new group. There was something different about him. He was kept outside, and he declares at the end of the story, "Oh, chavrusa, oh, misusa, I need companionship. I need friends. If I'm not welcome, if I am excluded, oh, misusa, I might as well die." And in fact, that's what happens. He davens that Hashem should take his life, and Hashem does. There is an equation, because in some small way, when someone is excluded, when someone is embarrassed, it is as if you are spilling their blood, and perhaps the source of the teaching, damav, maybe is sourced in the teaching on our psukim. The Chazal, the sages of the city have to say, our hands did not spill blood. That means literally, obviously, murdering the person, but it means it includes in that not maliciously embarrassing, excluding the person, or even passively ignoring someone and not letting someone in and making someone feel like an outsider, even though it might just be through a simple act or a small phrase or a glance of the eyes or a turn of the head that can make someone feel unwanted, unworthy, worthless, and in some ways it is spiritual murder. The flip side of all of this is that if a small misdeed can be considered murder, that means a small good deed can be seen like you're bringing life to someone, bringing someone back to life. A small deed can break the feeling of thinking that you are unwelcome or that you are on the outside. A smile, a warm welcome, or even more so, a good deed, to invite someone, to spend time with someone, to be kind in some way, that can give life to someone, that can bring someone back to life. If the negative is true, to embarrass and to exclude is like murder. So the positive is true, to include and to be kind and to show care and concern and to make someone feel like they are part of the group, part of the community. That is giving life. May we all be amongst those who give life to others, and in that merit, may Hashem bless us, our families, and the entire Jewish people with life as well. Everyone should have a good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.